Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Today, we are breaking out of Seahaven Island and traveling back to 1998 to answer the question, did the Truman Show predict the crazy future of reality TV? Or was it all just a massive illusion?
From the largest studio ever constructed, it's The Truman Show!
Plus, will Seth stump me on this episode's trivia question? Or will I catch him reading off of a script?
Was this the fastest Jim Carrey ever accepted a role, true or false?
Finally, we'll answer the most important question, how are we going to rate it? Are you going to take it home? Are you going to watch it at Grandma's? Or are you going to hide it in the attic? So grab a hot cup of Mococoa and smile for the hidden cameras. It's time to watch another movie at Grandma's. Hello, please come in. There's some fresh cookies in the cookie jar. There's a pitcher of Kool-Aid on the counter. Make yourself comfortable. Welcome to Movies at Grandma's House, where we love to revisit the movies from our childhood to answer the question, does it still hold up? And is it family-friendly enough that even Grandma will enjoy? And I'm your host, Isaac. They just go around the block, round and round and round.
And this is Seth. The early bird gathers no moss. The rolling stone catches the worm.
It is great to see you, Seth. What is Grandma putting on for us to watch today?
Today, it's The Truman Show.
Okay, if you have never seen this movie, this is your fair warning. We're going into spoiler territory. So, from here on out, consider yourself warned. Well, while Grandma's messing around with that VCR, let's look at the back of the film case and some film facts. The Truman Show was released back on June 5th, 1998. It had a budget of $60 million. The box office, $264 million. Looking around at some reviews, IMDb sits at a 8.2 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes is a 94%. Letterboxd is a 4.2 out of 5. Currently, as of this recording, you can watch it for free streaming on Peacock, Pluto TV, MGM Plus, and YouTube Premium. It stars Jim Carrey, Ed Harris, Laura Linney, and many more. It's in association with Paramount Pictures. And last but not least, we have to hear, how does Grandma feel about this one?
Granny's family-friendly rating for The Truman Show is a C+ for language, brief violence, and adult themes.
Yes, there are a few things to look out for. There's a brief, maybe frightening scene for younger audiences and language throughout. So just keep that in mind when it comes to family-friendly. This one is one we wanted to do, and we are going to touch on some of the things just to look out for when it comes to the family-friendliness of it. So we want to hear from you. Be sure you leave us a comment down below what your memories are, as well how you would rate The Truman Show. But let's start with you, Seth. What are your first memories with The Truman Show?
So I believe I saw this in theaters. It's one of those that I've seen throughout the years, so I'm familiar. But I just love the good afternoon, good evening, good night line.
It's a classic, yes. Like that is what I remember in advertising, going back to first memories. I remember this being more so in the advertising. I recall watching it, but I don't know if it was in theaters. It was more so those ads, those commercials. And I want to say pay-per-view. That was back in the day. That was a huge spotlight. They would use certain movies to advertise it. And this was one of them. And that line you're saying, the good afternoon, good evening, and good night, they use that oftentimes. So that is forever ingrained in my head. Like I even find myself quoting that when I tell someone goodbye or something. It's just a great line. And we'll get into it more. Jim Carrey, this is a different role for him. Of course, since then he's done roles, but this was his first one of this nature. But with that said, again, it's been many years. You've seen it over the years, but still, what was your expectations coming back to this one?
So really was just sit back, relax, and enjoy. I'm pretty familiar with this one. This is one I grew up on, and definitely look forward to it.
Yeah, I was like, I haven't seen this in a while, actually. I recall seeing it pretty often. Like I said, if it was on some kind of movie channel, even on TV, back when we had live TV, not so much of the streaming, this was one that we had on a lot. So I hadn't seen it in a while. I was like, I hope it still holds up. And this is going to be a different one for my children. Like I talked about, this one's, the rating would make you think it's family friendly, but we'll get into it. There's a few elements just to be aware of. So I was hoping maybe they'll be able to follow. There's a lot of deep themes in this movie. It's not just a straightforward, like, if you want to get the full experience of it all. Mm-hmm. Well, before we get into the plot rewind, let's pause just a moment to hear from our sponsors. Hey, love movies as much as we do? Then bring the experience of the theater to your walls with movieposters.com. Whether you're into the classics, the blockbusters, or indie gems, they have something for every single film fanatic. as a listener of our podcast, you can save up to 15% on your order right now. Just use code Grandma's House at checkout. Head to movieposters.com and let's build your ultimate collection today. All right, let's take the VHS out of the cover. Let's put it in the VCR and press play.
How would you feel if your whole life was made up? A farce? A fragmented reality? For what? TV ratings? To sell products? Truman slowly comes to realize his whole world is one giant TV studio. That those he loved were actors. That his life was fake. What will he do? Find out as Grandma puts on a classic. Today we are watching The Truman Show.
Very nice. That's a great summary. I would say they don't make movies like this as much, at least popular, because this seemed like a popular film. Going back to the box office, $264 million for 1998 box office numbers. This was everywhere, but they just don't seem to make that interesting plot like this. And it kind of set the stage, kind of touched on it before, of reality TV, how people can get addicted to that, how they follow it. So it's kind of fun coming back to this many years later. That's what kind of hits me of like, back then you didn't have internet. It was in early stages, really. Nobody really had the access. So this is what entertained people. And it's that fun premise of this one person, everybody knows all about him, and he is completely oblivious to it all. But I got to hear, what is your first impressions when you're watching this film?
Really, I just always forget just how captivating this movie is. It's there's nothing like it, and I don't think there ever will be anything like it, like you mentioned.
Yeah. That's what it feels like. I mean, there's a lot of interesting stories that kind of have that. Maybe a person's being watched, they're being followed. But this is, I don't know, it's believable, but it's not. Like, there's no way something to this scope of a town in this dome, how much money, like, I'm sure somebody's out there, it's on the internet somewhere. I just failed to do the research. But how much money would that cost to run that? Because you got paid actors that you have to figure they're dedicating their life to this show, quote unquote. Now they have to play a character 24/7. I mean, that just sounds impossible. But then the way it's done, it's like, at the same time with hidden cameras and obviously your walkie-talkies and communicating, it could happen, maybe not to that scale. So making it into a movie, I always found that fascinating. It's just a really cool concept. But what did you think of that story overall? Because obviously it's about Truman, played by Jim Carrey. He starts to catch on that things are not what he thought they were before.
Yeah. So it's one of the best plots I think ever conceived. Truly astounding. It's so original. And who would have known that reality TV would become such a big hit after this? No one could have predicted that.
Yeah. Up to that point, it was mostly scripted. And that's where you see the audience is watching Truman. I mean, there's a scene where they're like in a bar and she's saying, no, that was a relative from here, and explaining. That's how it was back then. Nowadays you just pull out your phone, you look stuff up and go, oh, but you got a lot of your information from the hearsay. Like one person caught an episode because you didn't have streaming. It was, you had to record it or you needed to watch it at this time. It was usually a prime time that the station would dedicate it to. And if you missed it, that was your way of knowing. So it kind of threw me back into that reminiscing of what TV was like back then. And exactly what you're saying, reality wasn't really there yet. You had very minor shows until it grew to now. I mean, you can't turn anywhere and without seeing some kind of reality show, even today on streaming and whatnot. So this was a trailblazer for sure. This was kind of setting the stage of this is what a public interest kind of looks at. And seeing him kind of catch on to little like disturbances or whatever you want to call it, just like, wait a minute, something's not right here. It's like you said, it's a really well set plot and it's more on the drama side, but I can't help but find humor in it as well. What do you think of that kind of dynamic of drama or comedy mixed together?
Overall, it's pretty balanced. I would say there's just a few intense scenes, and then the majority of the film is kind of like a lighthearted drama, I would say, and it really does speak well to the writing for sure.
Right. That's a strong suit of this movie too. The writing's really well done. There's a lot of lines we'll get to, I'm sure, with the quotes, but they're really well, it goes along with that tone, like what we're talking about. The drama, it's Jim Carrey. He's always known for the comedy of his more slapstick, more in your face. He's now in this drama setting. And up to that point, he really didn't do drama. So this was also another thing when this movie came out. People were all about Jim Carrey. He was the superstar up to that point. the years prior, he had these blockbusters. This was his first like showing, no, I don't just do all slapstick comedy. I can also be dramatic, because that's what impresses me still today is Jim Carrey is a really good actor on the drama side. Like he conveys those emotions. He's being, fooled that no, everything's fine by even his best friend. That still just rubs me the wrong way to this day. Like his friend's like, I would never lie to you. That whole scene. I mean, it's just like, oh, it irks me, but I'm like, I'm always blown away by Jim Carrey's acting, not just in that scene, but that's one that comes to mind of his acting, of just being able to flip a switch. He can be wacky and zany and humorous, but then he can be really serious and you feel those emotions. I mean, I just can't go on enough. We've considered other Jim Carrey movies. This is the first one of this nature. So it still astounds me coming back to it. But I guess we could jump into the characters. What'd you think? Of course, Jim Carrey is the lead, but what did you think of him or any other characters?
So I thought Jim Carrey delivered one of his best performances. It's definitely up there for sure. Laura Linney was great. Noah Emmerich was terrific. And I think it was Ed Harris. He was exceptional on what little script he had, because he didn't really play much of a role in the beginning of the film, and then as it progressed, he got bigger, more lines, and just did a lot with what he was given, which was amazing. There's not a bad acting part in this movie. Well casted.
I agree. And that's what this is going for. It's definitely going for, again, the dramatic, but the great acting. We talk about the humor. It's just the right balance. I can't get over that balance, because in my mind, it didn't have as much comedy. I picked up on a few more lines, a few more things I was actually laughing at more than what I remembered. And the acting is really what they are showcasing, but I think it's just a great balance. I love when acting can do that. It's not all serious. It's not all, this is really, dramatic. I love that. And sometimes the acting can be, in different forms, not always in that way, if that makes sense. And I mean, I go back to his friend. He does such a great job. He's like, the best friend, but he's such a just liar. I mean, they all are. Every single one of them are liars, but they do such a good job. The wife, Laura Linney, she plays an excellent job on that part, because she's so convincing to him. But then you see those cracks, that fake smile that she has. I don't know how she does that, but it's so well done. You're almost put in that situation as Truman. Like, wait a minute, something's not right here. Even though you understand and know more than him, you see that. Like, that's done by the acting. I can't get over just how well it's done. And Ed Harris is kind of, I mean, he's behind it all. He's really just, what word do you describe him as? Because he's kind of creepy in a way. What's the word I'm looking for? Just,
well, he is the villain. He is basically profiting off of Truman's life, and I mean, I didn't want to make this up in the fun facts, but there's a lot of there's a lot of studies. They've done classes in psychology over this premise of this film and how it would affect somebody in real life and how it affected, you know what I mean? And I was blown away when I did some research on that. But I wasn't going to bring that up, but yeah, it's fitting.
I could see it though, because that's what I was going to say is psychologically, he's callous. He doesn't show like much emotion towards, this is a person's life and you've just built this. You adopted them. You're a business corporation that adopted a child somehow legally and made it into this TV show that's being broadcasted to millions of people. And everybody's just okay with it. And he's just almost in the word I'm looking at, he's thrilled by it, the experience of it. But everything else he's callous to. Like towards the end, you skip ahead where Truman's trying to escape. He's trying to go away. He's on the ocean and they can generate the ocean. That's what kind of makes that world so interesting and fun, is they can control the lights, they control the weather. Again, how much does this thing cost? Who knows? I mean, it had to be into the billions per day, week, whatever. But anyway, he's trying to escape and everybody's like, he's not going to make it. And he's just like, do it. He'll go down with the ship. Like, wow. And up to that point, you thought he was almost like this father figure, like he's sleeping and he kind of touches the screen and all. So it's this psychological, I'm not surprised when you said that. Like, there's some studies you can make with this film. As much as it's fictional, it's kind of fascinating when you look at the multi-layered process of the characters, especially Ed Harris, but also what is Truman? What is his psychological welfare of, this, all his life was a lie. It's just kind of it's a kind of messed up story, but it's got its happy ending. He escapes, and obviously it's a fiction that you think he's okay, but you do kind of wonder, like, what's his experience going to be like outside of that whole world? I mean, is that something you've ever thought about, like, even when you're watching it the first time?
Yeah, it was, well, I'll get into that, but yeah, when I first watched it, I kind of wondered if life was made up, if it was just fake, and how easy it would be to do something like that nowadays, because of, like you mentioned, there's equipment ready to go. I wanted to say real quick though, we don't talk about this much because we don't go into our villains that deep, but it's like one of the first narcissistic characters that we've ever discussed. And there's some real stuff going on there, and he's got some problems. And then on the other spectrum, Truman is robbed of his real life.
Yeah.
So he could have had a real life, but they took it from him, and they're making him have this fake life that he's grown up to think is reality, which is not reality. And it's how pitiful is that when you kind of think like child actors kind of go through that a little bit.
Right.
And it's a heavy movie.
That's where we go back to, like, is this a family friendly movie? It goes more on the mild side. They definitely could have pushed this more. I'll get to my children's comments, but this was one that they definitely, when the credits rolled, were kind of like eyebrow raised a little bit. They didn't have a normal reaction to movies they've watched. And sometimes that's a good thing. I'm not saying everybody needs to watch this movie for growing up, but sometimes you just need a reality, as much as this is fiction. But look at deeper themes and in the right way, if that makes sense. Don't, open the whole floodgates and expose, but just that reality of this is what life is like. Sometimes it's not fair. I mean, that's what you can really look at it. Truman's life, like you said, it was robbed from him. And it's a fictional character, but you can't help but feel for him of just like, how could these people do that? And like you said, this narcissist is the one that's behind it. He's the driving force, as much as there was, I think it was the network executives, they were trying to step in and shut it down. He was still the driving force. He was the one that was controlling all of that. At any point, it could have been done and over with, but because of it, I agree with him, he was a narcissist who was just they're interviewing at one point in the movie, and it's just all about him. This is what I did. This is what I can accomplish. It's not about Truman. It's more of like, look at what I've accomplished. Yeah. This was my fascinating idea. So it's just an interesting experience. I don't know how else
good was he at that role, though?
He was so good, right? Ed Harris plays such a good villain. Like he played that so well. As much as it's called The Truman Show, he also steals the spotlight in a negative way, obviously.
Yeah.
But I can't praise enough the acting. I mean, I kind of agree with you. Like Jim Carrey, going back to him, this is one of his best roles dramatically, but also has the humor in it. His interaction with he's like walking into a building and he's trying to go on an elevator and there's people behind it that it's like they got a break area with donuts and stuff. And his reaction to that, I find that really great acting. Just him like, wait a minute, something's not right. Mm-hmm. I think it's a fun ride, as messed up as it is. Like, I mean, I can acknowledge it's a really screwed up idea of this poor person, their life was all a lie and there's all these corruption going on. But you can kind of enjoy the experience a little bit, if that makes sense. But we kind of alluded to a little bit. There's a lot of clever writing, a lot of lines. What were some quotes or different lines that you appreciated?
So I've got a couple. I love the scene where he's trying to escape and he goes, "Somebody help me, I'm being spontaneous." I also wrote down, "I hereby proclaim this Trumania of the Burbank Galaxy."
I really like that too, because that's where he's like in the mirror, and the people that are working think that he's caught on because he's just staring right into the camera. And who is that actor's name? He's been in all kinds of different.
I can't think.
Paul Giamatti, is that his name?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, like he's one that I just enjoy his acting, and he plays that way. He's a minor character, but I was like, oh, that's right, he's in this movie. I did that a lot in this movie.
And he's like that in a lot of movies when he first started his career. He was a very small role in a lot of movies, and he really nails it. I mean, he is such a good actor. Yeah.
But he as much as that was Jim Carrey, he uses the soap to make the spaceship. It was also him and the other actor with him, their delivery. It really sold that scene. So I really like that scene. I'm with you on that line. I really like that one. I like where they're driving through the fire because he finally, another element we didn't think about psychologically, just a sidetrack to that, why that was such a big moment, is he's afraid of water because it's staged like his father drowned. Again, messed up, just horrible. but he's afraid to go over even a bridge of water. Like that's how psychologically it messed with him. But he finally overcomes that. He's with his wife, Laura Linney, and they go through and then they set it up like there's a forest fire. They keep trying to throw these things like turn back, turn back. I love that part of it too, of just these little distractions. But the quote I love is they drive through the fire and he's like, "You want to do that again?" And she's like, "No," because she's freaking out. And just the way he's like having a great time and just giggle laughing. And she's afraid for her life because she's like, "What is this guy doing?" I love that line. Just little things like that. I love at the end when he does escape on the boat and they're telling him, "Go after him." The guy that's kind of over it, he's got a walkie-talkie, whatever, the manager, he's like, "They can't drive a boat. They're actors." I love that line. It was just hilarious. Like, yeah, if things start to kind of fall apart, at the end of the day, these are all actors. They're not really people of their trade.
Yeah.
And it showed the cracks of, as much as this was very elaborate and designed, it had its cracks to it. It's very realistic. So, well, anything else that you want to talk about? If there's a scene or any other lines that you have?
There is one scene I wanted to bring out. I really like the scene where Truman tries to visit his wife at the hospital. I liked how they showed the surgery that was all fake. And the poor patient was scared to death. Truman's left dumbfounded at this point, and the sequence is very chaotic, which I loved. I love when they do that with filmmaking, and you feel his panic and uncertainty. It just aided to the storyline, and it really pushed along his confusion.
Yeah. I love that scene too, because the doctors are like waiting for him. You could tell they're waiting for Truman to get pulled away or something, because he's just like, "I'm going to operate now," and he's just standing there like, "I don't know what I'm doing." I eat that up. That's what I think really shines in this movie, is those little details. You might miss it, but they add so much to it. I agree. Like his character just unraveling this yarn, it feels like, that is like, wait, things are just not the way they should be. One other thing I'll just throw in there, I think the soundtrack is really good. There's something about the soundtrack, and it's a little underrated. It adds to the emotions, especially when he's really starting to catch on, and like he's in traffic and he's putting his arms out and everybody's stopping. He's realizing, wait, everybody's following me, or everybody's aware of me. The soundtrack really aids into that emotion. I just want to throw that in there as well. You don't really hear too much about the soundtrack. Did you notice that it kind of aided it?
So I found a little bit of fun facts. I'm not sure if it's the main songs or if it's all of the songs, but it was public domain music.
Really?
And so they did that because they would use public domain music in the show to save money for the budget.
Wow.
That's basically why they did that, which I thought was really clever. And there's a lot of little things like that made up this movie really well. So I thought that was pretty cool.
They're public. I mean, I'm thinking, well, that just matches the scene so well.
The orchestra music might not be, orchestral music might not be public domain, but the other, like the classical music and everything, that is public domain music. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
That is really cool. I mean, it fit. Like I said, I thought it fit the timing and the emotion that it's trying to convey, because that's what this film's trying to do. It's trying to stir up the emotions. It's trying to put you in the light of Truman, like what he's going through, and also some of the other characters. And that's just something I appreciate. When a movie can really push it that extra level with the music, with the score, even if it's public, even if it's just a song you're familiar with, if it matches the scene, I don't know what it is, it just really brings it out for me. So I give them props for that. Just well done overall when it comes to setting the stage, the scene, and everything. Okay, you kind of were dancing around some fun facts there. So I'd just say let us hear it. We got to hear, what are your fun facts you got?
So I'll try to rattle them off. I have quite a few for this one.
I love
it. The first one, the scene where Truman draws the space helmet and says it's Trumania, was all improvised.
I could see that. I was wondering too. I was like, that's Jim Carrey.
He also did another one they didn't use in the movie that it was improvised. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
Around 300 extras were used in this movie from Seaside, Florida, where the movie was filmed.
Okay. They had to have extras. Like, this is a whole town, and there's parts where you see a big like a shot of people, and you don't think about those things as much as this is a fictional.
And they all got paid. That's quite a budget.
Yeah.
The next one is Jim Carrey said that constantly being watched by fans and paparazzi helped him to relate to Truman's character.
I was wondering about that. I bet you a lot of celebrities appreciate this movie too, for that reason, because it's kind of cool how they did that. They had some experience to base it off of, but it's still its own unique thing. But the being watched, I was wondering about that. That's pretty cool.
When you live your life on camera, I think it alters your view on things. And so, yeah, I think you could probably draw from that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The next one, because I've got quite a few, when Truman goes to the travel agency, I don't know if you remember that part, but he goes to the travel agency.
Yeah.
The agent apologizes for being late and removes a bib. Little did Truman know that she was an actress that had never played that role before and was wearing a bib because she just came out of makeup being prepared for the show.
That's awesome. Little details like that. And I love that scene too, because they're just like, yeah, we don't have any more. And he's like, what do you mean you don't have any more? Like they're trying everything to get him back to their reality. You know, I love that. I love that scene.
Another fun fact was Robin Williams was considered to play Truman.
Oh, wow. There's so many connections of Robin Williams and Jim Carrey. Is that just me where?
No, it's true.
They were, if you lived in the 90s, those were like the top two, I want to say, comedic actors. There was many, many others. I'm not saying they were the only ones, but it just feels like they were the ones that had those blockbuster smash hit movies. And I'm hearing that a lot. That's just interesting to me. Their own style, their own unique comedy. They're over zany at times, but I can't imagine, wow, Robin Williams in that role. I think he could have done it, but Jim Carrey just, I don't know, he kind of is that character, that Truman character for sure.
Yeah. He pulled it off quite well.
Yeah.
Two more. Truman's first name is a play on words, True Man, and his last name was from the Studio City, Burbank, California.
I was wondering about that. I've heard Burbank, and I'm like,
yeah,
is it named after someone?
They didn't go too far to get the name, so
it works. It kind of rolls off the tongue, I think.
All right, this last one is pretty special. The director Peter Weir had planned for the projectionist to stop the film at one point during the screening and cut to a live video feed shot by a camera installed in the movie theater, then to cut back to the film. And this, Isaac found for us. Thank you, buddy.
I was like, I got to send this to you. I still find that fascinating of if you got to experience that, if it really happened. So I guess there must have been some hold up with trying to get it coordinated and the money and whatnot. But there's been a few places. Do you remember like Kings Island? If you're in the Ohio area, Paramount, at one time they had this ride called Flight of Fear. They did that when you're waiting in line because it was about like aliens and they would cut to it. I mean, what would that be like if that happened where you're in the movie theater and cut to you?
First of all, it would scare you. And then secondly, it would make you think about the psychology of the film more. Like you would be left with a heavier note after you left the movie theater thinking about how Truman must have felt. So I think it was a brilliant idea.
Yeah. Just a shame it didn't work, but that's still kind of cool when you hear about it after the fact. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, we got to bring that out at some point. So that's awesome.
It's time for our fun fact trivia question. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
It's quite an easy question. So it's true or false again. True or false, was this the fastest Jim Carrey ever accepted a role? True or false?
Maybe that was a smokescreen, but I'm going back to Jim Carrey related to it because of the paparazzi. So that sounds like a true to me. Like he saw it and was like, I relate to this. I want it. So I'm going to say true.
It's true.
Yeah. All right. I was like, maybe you're trying to trip me up a little bit. Maybe you hear of stories. Maybe their agent kind of had to convince them, but maybe that tipped your hand a little bit. Maybe I was able to catch on of this seems like a role Jim Carrey wanted to play.
When I wrote that question, or when I wrote that trivia question, I thought of is it Sonic and how his daughter wanted him to be in the movie, or whatever. And I thought maybe this has changed since then, but I don't know. But up to this point, that was the fastest he had ever taken a role. Apparently, he did it quite fast because they actually had a note of it. So,
oh wow,
yeah, I mean, that's pretty neat.
That is
I
awesome.
thought that was pretty cool.
He that's the other thing. Like his genuine, and not that he doesn't do it in other roles, but you could feel it in this role. Like that was a role he wanted to play, and he could really relate to the character. That's what I was sensing the whole time. So, well, you didn't stump me this time, but maybe next time. So far, go back to this season. I'm definitely doing better than last season. If you go back to our previous episode, you'll see how terrible I really am at trivia. So I don't know what this wave of getting them right is going on, but I hope it continues. So. All right. Well, before we get to our rating, we like to look around the net. This, again, was all the way back in 1998. So I'm wondering, what kind of reviews are out there? What kind of thoughts are you seeing out there, Seth?
The first review I found was Mark 1988. said, one of the most original films ever made, 10 out of 10.
Wow. How appropriate, too. Mark 1998, the year it came out. So, I mean, I think if you like the drama, if you like Jim Carrey, that could be a 10 out of 10. That's not surprising to see.
The next one is James Hitchcock said, life is starting to imitate satire, 10 out of 10.
It does feel like that a little bit. Yeah, that's a good way to put it when you're describing this movie.
The third one was Movie Man MA says, true man, Lee, remarkable, 10 out of 10.
Wow. That's speaking volumes right there. I remember this being a really popular movie, like I said. So it looks like it's held up to a lot of people. 10 out of 10s. That's 3 straight 10s. Did we have a movie that had that before? I'm trying to think if we've ever had that.
I think one is one I can think of, but I can't think of the name. But yeah, we it's very current, like recent episode.
All right. Maybe we have to give some kind of an award. There you go. That's like, if not the first, one of the rare times we get a 3 straight 10 for a movie. So wow, that speaks volumes to how ones are feeling. So one of the things we like to do is we like to put movies through kid tests. So this is an interesting one. I have to just say before I get into what my kids thought, I thought this going into it, like this is going to be different for them. Up to this point, mostly cartoons or kind of those, I don't know, family getting together. This is a movie of tragedy. It's got some deeper themes to it. So I have children age 10 and under. I have 4 that are able to be conscious. I have a newborn currently, so actually 5. But focusing on the 4, 10 and under, my 10-year-old, he didn't really like it. He just couldn't get into it. That's where I go back to. I think there's just deeper themes, maybe something that he can come back to when he's older and maybe understand, because I don't know if he really grasped or understood it all. So he didn't hate it, but he was just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this one, which is understandable, the elements that are in the movie. My 8-year-old, he said he would watch it at grandma's. He was like, it was okay. He got some laughs from even some of the lines. He understood a few of them, but kind of the same thing. A lot of it kind of went over his head. And then I have a 6 and a 3-year-old. They had no interest in it. I'll just say they could not follow it. So I think that just shows when it comes to the kid test, this is probably not going to pass for most kids. They're not going to understand the weight, what's really going on. They can kind of understand this is a reality. This is a TV show and those types of things, but there's a lot more to this, like we discussed, with the character complexities. And maybe that's something just to keep in mind. Also, we talked about the content. There's a lot of language in this one. There is kind of a frightening part where he grabs a knife and holds it up. He's in self-defense, but it can kind of scare you a little bit, like, oh, what's going on? Especially if you're younger. They seem to be okay with it, but I just wonder if kids are going to find it a little too frightening. Just a word of warning for any parents out there. Okay, well, let's get down to it. Give our official rating. So let's start with you, Seth. I'm going to ask you the question. How are you going to rate The Truman Show? Are you going to take it home? Are you going to watch it at grandma's? Or are you going to hide it in the attic?
It'd be funny if I hid it in the attic. I personally love this film, and its concept makes me think. It's truly mind-blowing, to say the least. I will take this home.
Very nice. I think if you've seen this movie, you can agree, like we've talked about, the acting is great. The story is unique. It's just, again, they don't seem to make them so easy to understand, easy to follow, and it feels like it could really happen too. Because sometimes there's these unique stories, but they feel so far-fetched. You're just kind of like, okay, this was interesting. This is, like you said, back during that time, you're watching it like, could this really happen? Is this what's really going on? Is somebody, and me, my own self, am I in a TV show kind of a thing? So it's really fascinating even today. I think you can really enjoy this one even this many years later. I feel like it deserves to take it home. For me personally, I'm going to watch it at grandma's, but I'm going to give it high respect because I feel like this is one I can come back to every once in a while. I don't know if I'm going to watch it all the time just because of the experience, the deep themes that are going on with it. It certainly deserves to take it home. Like we talked about, I love the characters. I love the humor. It's just a lot of fun. I just feel like it's in a one that you can come back to, especially on a rainy day. That's actually when I watched this, and I loved it. I loved it on a rainy day. It's one of those kind of movies that come back to every once in a while for me, but I hold it in high regard. Just, I don't know what else you can really want out of this movie. It's a different kind of movie for sure, but you're going to have a good time even today, I feel. All right, well, that's another movie in the books. But before we go, Seth, why don't you tell the good people where they can find and connect with us?
You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram at Movies at Grandma's House, and on TikTok at LADX Media. Please email us your thoughts and comments and suggestions at movies@grandmashouse@gmail.com. We have a great newsletter to keep updated on all things Movies at Grandma's House, and check out our Patreon where our loyal fans will be rewarded. And as always, we are brought to you by movieposters.com, so be sure to use code Grandma's House. That's all one word, Grandma's House, at checkout for up to 15% off.
There you go. Yeah, if you want to help support the podcast, check us out on Patreon because we want to continue to give back to you guys. We have currently a free movie poster from movieposters.com. All you got to do, sign up for our newsletter. Being on our newsletter, that gets you free entry every month. But if you want to go a little bit further, you can get up on our Patreon. We're going to have some bonus content coming soon. So if you want to get in on that, be sure to check us out because we also want to grow that. We have currently some movie rentals that we do on our live feeds, but we want to see if we can do more. So be sure you check us out. All those links that Seth mentioned. We appreciate each one of you, though. Also, share your memories. Drop us a line sometime. We'd love to hear from you. Well, that's going to do it for our time at Grandma's house. But don't worry, we will be back soon. So in the meantime, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.